So when I came out yesterday to try to crank up our UTV, I turned the key and it would crank over and over and over again, but it would never fire up. That's the first problem we've had with this thing since we got it. So I investigated it to find out it was a fuel pump. So I'm not sure if you've had a fuel pump go out on one of these, but luckily it's very simple to change. Let me show you the footage I took when I was replacing that fuel pump. So the first thing that got me thinking it was the fuel pump was when you go to turn these things on, not crank it, but just turn it on, you can hear a pump noise coming from underneath the seat. So if you turn it off and you just turn it back on, you should hear a pump noise and it will run and it turns off. That is your fuel pump taking fuel out of your gas tank and pressurizing it into your lines. So when you turn the key all the way, it fires up with no problem. I didn't have that yesterday. It was just turning over and over and over and over and over again. So I started investigating the problem. First thing I did was went to the fuel pump. I pulled the wiring harness off and I got a multimeter to see, was it getting power? It was getting power. So that made me think, okay, there's not a fuse blown, no mouse ate up the wiring harness or whatever. It's something in that pump. So I went online to Amazon actually, and I found the fuel pump replacement for this vehicle. And I even got the little wrench adapter that takes off that fuel pump ring. I'll show you all that in a second. And I changed the fuel pump in like 10 minutes. It was no big deal. And now, of course, it's all working. So let's get into that. So this is the new fuel pump. It really is just, replace one, put the other one back in. This one is a little different on the top than the other one was, but it looks like when it goes in, all the bottom and everything still lines up straight. It's just the connector and the hose connectors are different places versus the old one. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing set in there and then get these hoses and everything hooked up and get the ring put back on. So I've got the new fuel pump put on, and as you can see, I've got the ring and everything back on. I got the hoses connected. Like I said, the layout is a little different than my other one, but it looks like it's going to work the same. One thing I did notice is the actual top part of the pump is thinner than the pump that I took off, the original one. So when you put the ring on, it's not super tight putting that ring on. It actually slides on really easy, which concerned me a little bit, but I think it's going to hold okay. I'll have to keep an eye on it for a little while just to see if we have any issues with it. If not, then I'll just buy a different pump. But this was the pump that said it was the direct replacement. Of course, they're all just generic from China. I've also turned on the ignition and I've heard it fill the line, pressurize the line. That's what led me right away to believe this was a fuel pump issue, because when I went to go crank it, I couldn't hear the fuel pump. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear this on the mic, but this is what you hear when you turn the key. Not cranking it, but you just turn the key to on. You should hear that fuel pump pressurizing the line like that. That is what's going to allow you to start this thing up. If you don't hear that, then your fuel pump's not pumping. Luckily, this gas tank is really easy to get to under the seat, so it's not that big of a deal. You also have your fuel filter here if you ever need to change it. Really easy to get to. So, shouldn't be hard to work on this if I need to. I'm hoping this is the last thing I need to do to it for a really long time, but we will see. But now I'm going to go ahead and get the seat and everything put back on, get all the tools and everything put away, fire this thing up. So now I can get out here and fire this thing up. I want to say, I think the fuel pump was going out for a while, because a lot of times I would go to crank it up and it just didn't have enough pressure in the lines to stay cranked. I'd have to do it once or twice to get that fuel pump rolling, all that fuel in there and get the pressure up. And then it would fire up, and then sometimes when I'd really get on it, it would want to die. So I don't think this was something that just happened overnight. I think it was kind of wearing itself out, or maybe it was all gunked up, because it did sit at a warehouse supposedly for about a year when they were going through bankruptcy, because I got this at like half the price they were new. But other than that, I mean, we've had no problems with it. We don't have, that many miles and hours on it, but we do run around the 40 acres a lot. And this thing is what we check our fences with. We use it to run back and forth to the lake, to carry stuff around. I mean, we use this thing quite a bit. So we even pull a trailer with it, and I'm pretty happy with it. So hopefully this fuel pump will fix it and keep it going. I'll let you know if we have any more issues with it. All right, thank y'all very much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out. I'll see y'all soon. Take care.